Meagan Crawford, everybody.
Right now, there are 3 SpaceFund portfolio companies in this room who have made Houston their home. You've heard from Bart at Eden Grow Systems, Matt from Axiom, and Guy Carafel from Cognitive Space. This city and this state have the potential to lead this economic revolution that I like to say is the only investment sector that has truly unlimited upside potential. There is an unlimited amount of physical space. There is an unlimited amount of resources, and there is an unlimited amount of energy in space. There is no other business that can claim it has an truly unlimited upside potential. That's why this is what I have dedicated my life to. I am a numbers girl, I am a finance girl, and the numbers make incredible sense. There are over 4,000 space startup companies around the world that I'm personally tracking. That means there's probably 2 or 3 times that in existence. Companies in stealth we don't even know about yet, who are solving problems we haven't even thought of yet. There are every single major bank and major economic analyst has said that the space industry is going to be worth trillions of dollars within the investment horizon of most of the people in this room. These numbers are staggering, and Texas can be the center of that. And with that, I would like to invite Ms. Stephanie Murphy. And Stephanie and I are going to just have a little chat about the Texas Space Commission and TARSEC so that everybody here can talk to your Texas representative about making sure this state is putting its money where its mouth is and supporting the Texas space economy.
Right, thank you.
All right. Thank you for coming up here, Stephanie. I really appreciate it. Norman Garza, as Bart mentioned, the executive director of the Texas Space Commission, is stuck in a legislative session right now, trying to make sure that Texas really gets this moving. So very excited to welcome you today, Stephanie.
Thank you.
There's 2 entities that we're going to talk about, Texas Space Commission and TARSEC. I can never remember what TARSEC stands for.
Texas Aerospace Research Space Economy Consortium.
There you go, perfect. And can you tell us a little bit, I know this is still a fairly new initiative, most people may not be aware of it. What's the kind of purpose of the sister entities and what have y'all been up to so far?
Yes, we've been super busy, so happy to talk about that. Honored to be here in Norman's place. Can't fulfill his shoes, and I probably cuss a little more than he does, so excuse me for that. But so Norman is the executive director of the Space Commission, and I happen to be appointed to the TARSEC Executive Committee. There's another committee member in here tonight, Matt is here, and if I knew he was here, I might have asked him to speak in my stead. But we are, both organizations were formed by the bill 3447 during the 88th legislature, and the governor put that forward. It was drafted by Representative Bonin, Dr. Bonin. And it created the Texas Space Commission and the consortium. So they're sort of sister entities. The commission is actually a governmental agency, a state agency. And the consortium's role is to help the Space Commission decide what strategic areas the funding should be allocated. So you can kind of think of the Space Commission as responsible for doing the proposal process and awarding the funding. And TARSEC's role is to meet with the state, with members of the state, including academic institutions, government institutions, private businesses, individual members who have interest in the space industry, and help lay out that roadmap for where TARSEC should be allocating the funds.
Excellent. So it's been about 2 years now?
No, so the announcement happened of the appointees. All of us are government appointees by the governor, the lieutenant governor, and the speaker of the House. So that announcement was just last March, so less than a year ago. And we've done a tremendous amount of work, both organizations, in that period of time. So Norman was named as the executive director of the Space Commission July 1st of last year. And, they rolled out with a proposal and funding proposal application before the end of the year. I think that came out in October is when they opened that up. As a consortium, we started meeting as an executive committee just in August of last year. We had our first formal meeting. And since that started, we've had a series of workshops. We've actually engaged with over 700 individuals from industry, academia, and government offices in that time as a TARSEC group of 9. All of us have day jobs. We all have 9-to-5 jobs. We're all public servants. So on TARSEC, 3 of us are allocated from universities. The University of Texas, Texas A&M, and Rice are the 3 that were written into the legislation. But all the institutions of higher education across the state are members of the consortium. And then the other 6 of us are from industry. So we've been really busy. We actually are planning our next workshop maybe in South Texas in March, and then one in North Texas. We've hit Austin, Houston, and San Antonio so far.
You have been very, very
Yes.
busy.
Yes.
Lots of driving, it sounds like, lots of miles on the car. So this is obviously brand new. You're just kind of getting your feet under you with this process. Is there anything that stands out to you from that kind of strategic perspective you were talking about? It's like, where are there any areas of need, areas of interest? I imagine most people you've been speaking to have been fairly receptive to this
Yes.
concept. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say in terms of what stands out to me the most is really the demand signal that was generated by the proposal. So they put out a SURF proposal, grant proposal process. They just closed that the 21st of January. But the Texas Space Commission received over 220 proposals that totaled requests for $3.4 billion. So they have $150 million to give out. That's not a lot to give out for all these good ideas, but I think we were all astounded by the initial demand signal that came out, especially because that process happened so fast. And people had to turn on applications in a very timely manner. But that's probably the most staggering piece of information that's sort of come out of this, is that demand signal being well over $3 billion for the first round of proposals.
That's amazing. That's a lot of money, but a lot of probably very excellent work to be done,
Yeah.
and all here in the state of Texas. So I kind of gave the pitch at the beginning for folks to call their representatives, get involved, show your support for space. If you're here in this room tonight, obviously the idea of Texas going to Mars is at least a little bit exciting to you, to get you to be here instead of at home with your family. So please help us support that however you can. And then any last words, anything I should have asked you that I didn't?
No, I mean, we can't emphasize enough how we need the support by the legislative bodies, and not just for state support for the Space Commission, but there are infrastructure projects that need to happen to enable space companies to do business here. There are facilities that need to be built. There's workforce considerations. And so it expands well beyond the Space Commission. If you have ideas for other ways that funding can be generated, that's all in support of the space ecosystem. We love that support. And also supporting federal defense spending in Texas as well is one of the primary strategies of TSC and TARSEC, right? To bring more Space Force work to the state of Texas, to bring more Air Force work, more research, as well as keeping our civil space healthy here, right? We have Johnson Space Center right here in our backyard. It really is the place where commercialization was spawned, space commercialization in low Earth orbit. From the National Lab, and not just commercial crew and commercial cargo, which everybody thinks of these, big companies like SpaceX, but that's really where companies like Axiom are doing their commercial LEO destinations, and smaller companies like ours play a piece in that ecosystem.
Plug your company.
Sure, I own a company, Aegis Aerospace, but we're all benefactors of the commercialization that's happened, especially here in Houston. And so that's important to protect as well, the funding for the space station, to ensure there's not a gap before these commercial destinations come online. We want to build the demand and carry the demand over for researchers who are interested in low Earth orbit. There's a lot of agriculture research that happens on space station and some of the private facilities that exist today. So it's really important, not just funding within the state, but to push for that funding at a federal level as well.
Awesome. Thank you
Yes,
so much.
thank you.
Bethany.
Appreciate it.